Hello, Commanders, and welcome to the RNG Endgame, a podcast about the game Marvel Strike Force. Your hosts are Frid and Creative. We're leaders in an alliance from a large cluster, and would like to share our insights with you to hopefully improve your gameplay and overall experience, and give you a little entertainment.
All right, Frid, episode 53. So last week we had our special guests, the Mantis team, join. So hopefully everybody enjoyed geeking out with us and listening to those guys. There have been some interesting developments with them, but also with Marvel Strike Force and their blog post that we'll talk about. But we have been remiss in talking about or addressing some of our listener comments. And there was one that came probably a good 2 weeks ago from Silent Knight that we definitely wanted to address and talk about. So first and foremost, as always, thank you for the review. He said, I've listened to every episode since launch. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Love the content and greatly appreciate you as content creators that use this as your primary vehicle. Would love more transparency with your material. Allude to war methods and theory that you won't discuss. You mentioned a Hela Zemo hybrid to kill Marauders, but no details. Why hold out? I'm listening to learn. So help us learn beyond the numbers. I'll continue to listen feverishly, but love more sharing if you could. Pretty please. Keep up the great work. So first, thank you so much. And I would say thank you for the feedback. A few things to cover. We do have a lot of active conversations in Discord. So if you are interested, stop by there. I do forget what we cover in Discord versus talking in our alliance versus talking on the show. So sometimes we may forget something. And if we do, as always, feel free to reach out to us and let us know. But I really do thank you for that feedback. We're going to actually go into a war a little bit more. In the past, we were very, I would say, intentionally cagey about our war strategies and our counters because we were a very war-focused alliance and we didn't want to give too much detail to our opponents. But that is good criticism. It is valid, and we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit today. And just again, a general plug, if we don't cover something in depth, feel free to stop by Discord or leave us a comment and we'll take care of that. So I've mentioned it on, I think it was 2 episodes ago, that Frid is a marauder killing machine. He takes out like 3 per war. So Frid, I want you to talk about the Hela team, also known as the Star Africans. For whatever reason, someone said Asgardian team gets auto-corrected to Star Africans. I don't get it. But anyway, why don't you tell us about your tips and tricks to take out those pesky marauders?
Yes, so the Star Africans, that's where that came from. I keep seeing that. I'm like, what do you guys mean? But okay, I get it now. That team is made up of Hela and Loki. That's the Asgardian piece. And then the Hydra piece is Baron Zemo, Red Skull, and Grenadier. So, of course, Baron Zemo needs to be strong because he has that crazy passive when he goes, just kind of clears all the buffs from the Marauders when they're dropped down. And what you want to do is start with the ability block from Zemo on Strife, generally speaking, on Strife. Then keep focusing him there's the Loki special with mind control, put defense down. Then like Greg will put a heal block. You load him up with all that stuff. And then you do the ultimate from Hela, which spreads it to the entire team. And that's where, you're kind of in the money. You have ability block, hopefully a lot of them, if you have a very strong Hela. And Strife is probably down, so he can't taunt. And then you can start working on Sinister to take him down, because you want to make sure he's down because he starts healing, and that's a problem. The only thing, so anyway, that's a very simplified. You got to be careful not to kill Strife altogether, because then you can't spread. So if the Strife is too weak, you gotta watch it. But for the most part, these teams are built up, so you do want to make sure you land all the debuffs on Strife, spread them to the team, take down Sinister, and then as long as Zemo lives, you kind of win because he keeps doing the passive, and it's kind of impressive. I've done like 200k punch-ups, which I don't even believe it sometimes. Now, one thing to watch out for, if there's a blob, I don't know that they work as well. I don't know what it is about the blob, but instead of Sabretooth, that's a pain. So if you see that, maybe use one of these other teams that I'm going to talk about. Any questions on that one, Creative, before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done that one personally. So in terms of speed, Zemo is going to go first, and you're saying Loki and then Hela all go before
Yeah,
Emma does. So she can't remove.
can't do the flare. That's right.
Gotcha. Okay. I haven't done that one. I'm a little leery of that, and I also still have not leveled up Zemo because he's 4 yellow stars. Justice for Zemo.
Yeah, no, I mean it's yeah, Zemo, uh, Loki, Greg, and Hela go first. I don't know about Red Skull, but you summon with him. He may go first too. I don't remember though, but it's quite impressive what they can do. Very surprising. So I was anti like, oh, this breaks up several teams, but we have enough teams, so this works very well. The next one is X-Force, which I have been doing for a long time because I went all in on X23 and Negasonic, which is the key here to have those two pretty high. So you want to disrupt Strife with the Domino. Is it the ultimate? I think so.
Yeah.
Disrupt Strife so he can't taunt. So that needs to land, otherwise it starts getting dicey. And then I like to ability block Sinister to try to prevent a clone, but it's more to do damage on him with X23 because you want to get him down so that when whoever, either him or Strife, sometimes he can, if X23 crits and he has a deflect because she'll hit again, he can go down below 50%. And what happens is eventually Strife will taunt, but you have the X23 ult, and that you want to take out Sinister. And then once that happens, the whole thing they kind of fall apart after that because you have all those evades. It can take a while, sometimes it's not as quick, but you just eventually get there. One thing that I did was I put Deadpool in the middle for war, and even Blitz, just because if the AI decides to hit the middle and Domino's still around, he'll revive every time. So that's helpful. But yeah, that's kind of the combo. Disrupt Strife, take down Sinister, and then you can kind of work your way through the rest of them and pick them apart. Emma is generally the last one to go because she has so much health and healing. So I don't know. This one is not. I've done 100k punch-ups, things like that. Depends. You have to look at the power level of each character too. We're seeing 170, 150 Emmas and Sinister, which is crazy, right? Have you seen those?
Yes.
It's pretty scary.
It's ridiculous. And you've pulled out some crazy wins. So
some 600k, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Last one is the Symbiotes. So these to me work more on a punch across. I haven't tried like big or down, not even. Since they don't have anything like too explosive coming from their end, you can start by focusing Strife. That seems to be the theme here, and getting him down. Because if you don't do that, then he'll start taunting and you can't finish off people. It's not like you have a X23 that can skirt the taunt with the Symbiotes. So you just keep, putting the debuffs, working on Strife, and then, you kind of can sustain them, and you get turn speed, and it's a lot more grindy of a match. But the big move from Symbiote Spider-Man that stuns, that's a big deal, and it works out very well. So this one's not as exciting. I don't know there's a particular strategy, but you do want to go after Strife and get it over with, and then try to take out Sinister. That's kind of the order here, because that's the lethal combo, right? The healing with the taunt, and you can't get to them. But once you get Strife down, then you can pick apart Sinister and work your way through the rest of the team.
Now,
And if you can defense up with either anti-venom or venom, you'll be in good shape because they don't have anything really to explosively like take you down.
and Emma's clear of the buffs. Her special doesn't kind of wreck the train.
I mean, you always have to watch for that, but it doesn't seem to be enough to.
Okay.
They're pretty sturdy. You may want to wait on the anti-venom special to do the spreading until after you see the Emma
Alt,
special.
Yeah. Okay.
Or, sorry, alt. Yeah, you're right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, any other pearls of wisdom? I know we wanted to talk about the Star Africans, the Zemo team, and some others, but some good stuff there.
It sometimes doesn't work though. I mean, they're still pretty tough. So
when you're doing 200K punch-ups, there's a lot of RNG involved. So
yeah, but it's fun you get really excited when you can take one of those giant things down. Feel really good about it. Kind of take the screenshot, show the alliance. Look at what I did. You get those in the chat. Wow, that was a big one. I mean, it's crazy what they can do. So try it and let us know how it goes.
Okay. All right. And then I'm going to talk a little about some defenses. Some of these we have done, most of them we have some thoughts on. But one of them that we have seen pop up recently is the Marauders with Doc Ock instead of Sabretooth. And I see this and I just panic because that is just a lot of annoying defense characters there. So, Doc Ock just doesn't die. Plus, if you've got Strife taunting, you can't get to him. Or even if you do, then you'll get some heals if you have ISO 8 on Emma, or certainly you get heals from Sinister. So that team, I haven't fought it personally, but it takes a big team to take that out, and boy, that is annoying. So, we've talked about Doc Ock a few times on the show. He is flat out broken unless you have a stun team against him. So that one's a really annoying team. Another really annoying variant, and this isn't anything terribly new, but maybe some of our listeners haven't seen it, is some Fury variants. And so the first thing I would give you in terms of tips is, he's no longer what he was. When I started, he still wasn't even, he had long been passed over from the meta, but he's still a good character. And so I did take him to T14, and that really screws up a lot of attacks against him. When he's T14, his minions live longer, he heals more, and he is a lot more powerful. And a lot of Brotherhood teams are still going to be, tier 11, maybe tier 12, and they actually really, really struggle with that. So that's a secret tip for folks. If you do have, your Fury, you're thinking about taking him to T14, he will get you more wins because people just won't be prepared for that. But back to the variants. So there's two kind of key variants. The one that I find super difficult is Fury with, let's see if I can remember all of it. Fury with Coulson, and then my favorite, the Inhumans, Black Bolt, Yo-Yo, and Crystal. And so with those characters, you get a bunch of bonus health from Coulson on Yo-Yo and Fury and Coulson. And then, of course, it's just a strong team in terms of Yo-Yo doing offense down, Fury blowing stuff up, and then, of course, the big man himself, Black Bolt, blowing stuff up. I have found, so for those of you that see that out there, taking an X-Men does not work for me. I've not had a lot of luck, but I have had a lot of luck of taking the straight Inhumans in against that team, and you can punch across. It's definitely not an easy fight. And I have a really big Black Bolt and a bigger Yo-Yo, but you can punch across with that team. It is a tricky fight, but it definitely can work. So I know that's a tough team that people still really haven't figured out a good counter, but I found Inhumans. So that's one. Fred, any commentary on that before I go to the next variant?
I haven't. I see that team and I don't know what to do, so I just kind of stay away from it. I haven't tried. I'm waiting for the Marauders to show off so that I can kill them. I don't mess with this team. That's good to know, though, that the regular Inhumans can do it.
Yeah,
So,
it's not, again, it's not a pretty fight. Plus, I also have, lower Karnak and Quakes, so they struggle a bit. They don't live through all of it, but that fight is definitely doable. The other variant is Fury, Coulson, and Shield Assault with the Dad Bros. And so you put those two guys on the outsides, and they do their thing. And of course, you've got Coulson doing his thing, going fast and blowing up things. Fury goes fast and blows up things. And then Shield Assault, because of his or her, I'm not sure what it is, passive, that gives more crit. So that team, if it gets rolling, they can actually wipe an entire team before the other team even gets a turn. It's kind of ridiculous. So I don't have very big Dad Bros. Are tier 11. They're only like 50k or something. But that if you decide to whale out on that team and you put some orange gear into them, oof, that is a nasty team.
Yeah, that's the one I have, but they're not getting any wins for whatever reason. I don't know. People, maybe we've been facing some 13 million collection power people, so
I mean
that's part of it. But.
Yeah, so that they're so the Dad Bros and Shields are vulnerable to the same thing, which is debuff teams. So Symbiotes come in there and can wreck if they can get going, but the most direct counter is Brotherhood. Mm-hmm. They dick that team down. And then the other thing is, people maybe not guess this one, but AIM. Scientist Supreme goes early and puts on offense down and really slows down that train as well. So, but the debuff teams are terrible for shield, and then the Dad Bros, while they speed up and do that, they don't have any cleanse either. So that's some interesting teams. Any other pearls of wisdom on those before I go through Mercenaries?
No, I mean, I like I said, I see and I stay away because I didn't know, but I have a better Brotherhood, so I can try these now. Yep.
Okay. Fair enough. And then let's talk lastly about Mercenaries. This is still, next to Marauders, there's still some of the hardest teams to deal with. This last war, we saw a 7 red star fully maxed out Taskmaster. God. And Frid, I think someone went in first, and then you finished it off, which was incredibly impressive, but good grief.
Did I use my X-Force? I think I did.
I think you did. Yeah.
I mean, because I saw that thing. I'm like, okay, we got to bring in...
This is worthy.
The Marauders. We got to take this down. Yeah.
Worthy of taking the X-Force in. So a couple things that I see that I'm continually surprised why people do this. So first and foremost is they bring in Shuri. Shuri, I like Shuri. Great character for raids. And just overall strong character. She puts defense up right away. But she significantly makes the team weaker. She doesn't make Taskmaster stronger because she's not skill. She doesn't have some of the capabilities like Killmonger of doing some auto attacks or like Bullseye. Mm-hmm. And overall, people have 100k Shuri and they don't know what to do with her. In a future episode, we're going to talk about some of that. I'll just say that she works very well as the 5th with Zemo and the standard Zemo team. She works very, very well there. There's a gap in turn 2 and 3 where if you save her her special, the defense up, because Crossbones, his taunt is down. I found that I would lose Zemo or somebody in that turn 2, turn 3 when you keep having to wait around. She's much better there. You can do really big punch-ups. So anyway, back to Mercenaries. I'm all over the place today. So I don't like seeing... Well, I love seeing defenses with Shuri in there because to me that means it is a significant, easier mercenary team. The other is I've seen, strangely enough, Minerva thrown in there. So Minerva's another character, great character for raids, great character for that, and just doesn't have a place either. So people are like, just throw them in there, whatever. Yeah. And when I see her, I get excited. Again, you're losing that extra damage dealing passive ability from Taskmaster. She doesn't have any real synergy. She's going to be a lot slower than a team. So overall, don't like her there. The other thing that I just see a lot of weird positioning. And we've talked about this for as long as Taskmaster has been out. He is the team.
That's right.
By far, he's the team. And I see him put in the middle. I see him, left and right. I see him right next to Mercenary Right Guard. And the answer is, you want him on the end. He is the man. If he dies, the team dies. So put him on the end. The other thing is put Merc Lieutenant right next to him. So Merc Lieutenant in war has the passive that heals every time an adjacent or anybody next to or himself gets hit. So he's going to get Taskmaster's going to get a lot of healing from Merc Lieutenant. And then I recommend Mercenary Riot Guard next to Merc Lieutenant, and that is again passives of giving deflects to Merc Lieutenant and keeping him alive. Plus, you're going to be healing the tank through the passive healing that Merc Lieutenant does. And then it depends on who you're using, but I like Killmonger in that team, unless you've put him in the Skillmonger or the Skilletary team. But I like Killmonger because he heals himself, and being next to the tank, not a big deal. The other thing, is you can look at Korath or Bullseye. And so Bullseye is just, he's a flimsy guy. Frid's got a big 5 red star one, and you got to put him all the way on the side. He needs to be as far away from any damage as you can. But I like, I've mentioned Killmonger. We've moved him to Skilletary temporary. So I use Korath. And so Merc Lieutenant, giving offense up and all that kind of stuff is great. But really it's Taskmaster going fast, Korath going fast, and blowing people up. And that catches a lot of people off guard. Mm-hmm. Mine aren't that big anymore comparatively. So I just said a whole lot of stuff there, Fred. I don't know if I lost the listeners, but what do you think about all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right about the choices that don't belong with what the team does. Like, while Shuri can sometimes make it so that they last a little bit longer, that's not what the team is about, right? It's about that explosive turn at the beginning where you feel like you can't do anything. I don't like taking X-Force on the first attack because they'll blind like X-23 and then you're in trouble. And then Bullseye and Core, those guys will surprise you with how much damage they come out with when they're together. So I'm with you. Those choices of these sustain kind of things, they don't make sense. I did add Red Guardian in there just because I think, yeah, Bullseye is great, but he's still so flimsy. I gave Red Guardian a shot because he'll have some of the synergies with this team, and he's tough. And I have him T13 because, as you know, I try to make this work. He's been getting me wins sometimes because I think it's, between him and Riot Guard, it's hard to get through to the damage dealers. And I do have Killmonger in there too, which I made him 13 also. He heals himself. He does all the damage. I hate facing the mercs. It's the worst nightmare too. I think they're the toughest, probably. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so a couple additional things there is, Taskmaster is the team. He should be the biggest on the team. And oddly enough, Creative is going to talk about a healer in Merc Lieutenant. And Merc Lieutenant,
yes.
So we've come across, this is early days of the team. I've come across a T14 Merc Lieutenant. And good grief, you can't kill Taskmaster. You can't kill Merc Lieutenant because he's constantly healing. And with the higher gear tier, the higher level, he has a ton of health. So definitely, if you're going to give a minion some love, Merc Lieutenant and that defense is definitely going to pay off dividends.
Yep. All right, good stuff there on war talk, both offense and defense. So another comment came in. This was direct comment from Ixen, and he said, "Hey Frid, long time, day one listener here." Wow.
So 2 long-time listeners giving us comments.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for the show. I just love it. I'm totally addicted to it. After hearing you talk a lot about the Ragnarok cluster, and I'm a free agent on Sunday, they reach out to me, so I'm joining Delta on Sunday. You have spoken so well about the cluster, so it felt right. Looking forward to this. Keep up the good job. Well, great to hear that you came to join the family. And I think I've seen you pop into the Discord. So awesome to have you um, with us. And I hope you're enjoying your stay with Delta, one of our sister alliances. Have you seen him in the Discord?
Oh yeah,
By
he's
chance?
got several questions he's popped in. He's weighing in on the blog post and some other things. So he's already commenting quite a bit.
Very nice. Well, good. Glad to have you with us in Ragnarok. All right, so let's get into some more questions because the Discord has been popping. I mean, I'm telling you, and we've kind of had a bit of a backlog. So, first question, I would like to hear you discussing about the shambles with the lunar orb event. The extension of it for 48 hours. When I woke up, it was gone. Then switches between players in alliances to snag up extra free red star orbs and G15 mini uniques. This event is horrible.
Yeah, so this is a question from Ixon, and so I'm not sure everybody knows kind of all these things. We probably watch too much content creators and read too much stuff. So in case you aren't as obsessed as we are, let's catch up on these last few weeks, and boy, have they been a doozy. So, first and foremost, there are players and alliances that have figured out how to legitimately hack this event. And so to those folks, people may not expect this, but we give you a round of applause. It is well past time that Scopely's code quality, it comes to our favor instead of favoring Scopely. So let's talk about all the things that were wrong with this event and all the little hacks that came along with it. So one was if you spend your cores right at the reset, so mine is 7 p.m., if I spent my cores at 7:01 or 7 minutes and 5 seconds, whatever, so right after the reset, it would count to not only the previous milestone, but also then the new milestone.
Mm-hmm.
So Fred, you got on that train early on. I'm like, how are you have so high of core spin? What are you doing over there? I thought Fred had gone all whaley on me, and instead you had been doing that method and basically doubled your value every day, which is fantastic.
And let me just say bravo to the community altogether, because nobody was talking about this because they were like, we don't want, because that's how they find out, right?
Yes.
So I kind of heard, and then I tested it, and I'm like, oh, this worked. So then I was like, hey, here's what you do, but you didn't want it to get out there because then it'll catch on. So
yeah,
I mean, it's in the game. It's not like we're doing anything wrong. I mean, we're just
playing the game.
That's right.
We're just keep on messing with Calendar Carl. So so that was one that was interesting. So I took advantage of that to the latter half of the event. I wish we'd had more people. We shared that with our alliance. We didn't see a lot of people doing it as much. So that was a little disappointing. But a lot of alliances did take advantage of that. The other one that was really tricky, I think I saw Dutch Rudders, maybe Casino doing this, but Dutch Rudders, first and foremost, not only explained how to do it, but also explained how not to screw over your alliance. And so what this was that alliances that had finished the event, all the event milestones, you could have people join your alliance and collect all the rewards for not even being in the alliance, and then leave 5 minutes later. And then I heard crazier stuff of people joining multiple alliances and getting the milestones multiple times. That one is pretty darn crazy to me. But what Dutch had outlined, and you and I talked about this when we switched alliances, was spend all your energy, campaign energy, before you leave, so your alliance has all your keys and you're not screwed over for the 24-hour period. Make sure you communicate when you're coming and going. He just did a very thoughtful way of talking through it and making sure that you got the rewards, but that your alliance did not miss a step. So congrats to him on that one. So those were two of the crazy things. So that was some of the hacks that happened. We didn't get a chance to talk about it last week. I did share some of that in Discord. So let's go back to this event. We said it the other week. If you want to give me free rewards for spending cores, fantastic. Most of these events typically require extra game time, and then you get, some stuff on the side. And so to me, if they want to keep something like this going, fine. But the way it was released just came across as tone deaf to all the things that are happening. And Scopely basically came out and said, we're catering to the whales. I mean, they didn't say that directly, but we're catering to people that want to go above and beyond and spend all these crazy cores to help their alliance. Translation, we want this to be for the whales. And so, the way it was released, just the fact that it was go spend cores, it's like the one thing they haven't gone after before. It all just felt so wrong.
And remember the first thresholds were crazy.
Oh, like 5,000 per day. I mean, what the heck?
It was so bad. I think that's what... It's one of those things that on the balance of it all, it's probably not as bad as it seemed, but the way it came out and the timing and that whole 5,000 thing was just... It's like sticker shock, right? You're like, oh my God, what is this? This is insane. And I mean, it still took a lot, and those hacks helped push us along.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I think it turned out okay after it was all said and done.
Yeah, and I screwed up the math, and we had to correct it before our podcast. That was kind of a crazy thing. But ultimately, if you're just doing your 4 energy refreshes for the 200 cores, and you spent the additional 100 cores that they gave to you, so 300 a day, that got you to milestone 18.
Yeah, but let's keep in mind that was also because it was so tone deaf. They said we need to give these people some cores.
Right.
It's so bad.
Right. So with those two things, you got pretty far. I think it was 25 or 26 milestones. You get to 18 if you did that. So again, I was a little surprised a lot of people weren't taking advantage of that. It was just a little odd there, but just their whole delivery of it just seemed off. If you're going to do something fundamentally totally different than before, give us a little more detail about it, communicate, and then certainly if you're doing an event for cores, give us some cores. I mean, those 1,000 cores they gave us, that really broke the game. Come on, no, it didn't. It didn't at all.
It doesn't do anything.
I mean, those little things like that go so far, but you can't do it after you screw up. When you do it after you screw up, then people are like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I think if they had done this in reverse, here's a calendar, because it even ran to after the event because they did it poorly, and then the limit was reasonable. The whole thing could have been a success because you got there were some good rewards in there. There's no doubt about it. But
this is my other thing is yes, there are T15 pieces in there, but we got 6 of each individual piece. I just did the math. I need 200 of each individual piece, and that was being the most efficient I could be with DD4.
I know.
6?
It doesn't do anything.
Come on. Anyway.
Yeah. No, it's unfortunate. Hopefully they learned some out of this.
Yeah, we'll see. They're just not getting it. So, and maybe we'll have some time. We'll talk about this blog post. They keep putting off addressing the real player concerns. It's now been over 2 months at this stage where things kind of blew up. So I don't get what it is. I think we're giving those PhDs too much credit, to be honest. I mean, if they were real PhDs, they'd already have a model. You crank in the new variables. Yeah, we're going to give them a few more training mats so they feel better about themselves. And they could immediately know their profitability change. But they don't. I don't understand what's taking so long. Anyway. So hopefully, Ixon, we covered that one enough. It was definitely a very, very strange week. Another bad week for Scopely, to say the least. And so he had another question. I thought this was a great one because I'm dealing with it. I know a lot of people are dealing with it. And it's about DD4. And who do you take for global? and Frid and I laugh because every day I keep changing who I'm thinking about taking, and I just and so he's very focused on mutants, and he's looking at Emma or Sinister. And so Frid, we talked about this already. You've already made this decision, but talk us through your reasoning for your choice.
So I made this decision after I was upset about Marauders facing them and Emma being so crazy. And just the fact that Emma is also useful in raids. So I had decided on taking her because remember that my philosophy has been just do it on characters that you use and that will be more beneficial. Like everybody said that Sinister is the best to get through global. But as we know, you get 6 materials on an event that takes 10,000 cores to get. How long is it going to take me to do all this? Who cares? I'm just going to do who I like. So that's why I decided on Emma. But now on top of that, I have also decided on Sinister because so many people have said that he makes it so much better. And then, Sinister is a character with a unique ability that making him stronger can let you have those clones stronger. But in reality, I don't use him anywhere, right? He's not anywhere in the game other than on war defense and blitz. So that's why I was like, I don't get any use out of him, so I'll do Emma. Now that's a lot of mutant gear, so you will be foregoing some of the long shots and things that you may want to do for Cosmic. That's the only drawback there. But I don't regret it. I mean, Emma is an awesome character, and when I need her in some of these raids, she comes in if I lose somebody, and she does the job.
Mm-hmm. And you're taking her. You've been hitting the last boss node in U7 right. now, and you're taking her in there, right?
I have to do that first to take out a couple with her. Yeah. Do the mind control thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so Sinister by far makes Dark Dimension 4 easier, and people can one-shot, and they've got 5 clones, and it's crazy.
Right.
But if you one-shot nodes, or you even take 2 or 3 times, guess what? You're still going to be sitting there for 3 months.
Sit there for 3 months waiting like I am there right now for the stuff.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's always talk of Sinister. He's always going to be meta because he can clone Doctor Doom. Sinister doesn't even get a turn when I fight him in Arena. He doesn't even get a turn. So
that's right.
We've never been huge fans of him because we didn't whale out on him, pay any money, and they intentionally kept him from being farmable. So we were never with him in the meta. But, certainly he is a strong character, strong for defense. Emma just provides so much more value across the game. She is, a god tier character. Sinister is a good character, but we just don't use him. Now, with that being said, we did have, I forget who it was, that showed us a screenshot of a Marauders team with Magneto instead of Juggernaut. I always say Juggernaut, Sabretooth. And that he had like a 700k team, and he was taking out difficulty tier 3 in the Greek nodes and was blowing up global nodes. So, obviously, if you're global and you want to go that route, you're not gonna cry about Sinister. You'll get value out of him. But just Emma to us just felt so much more useful in the game mode. And then Fred, you used her and you got through the early nodes just fine without any cloning.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's her abilities. There's nobody this crazy. The cleanse and the slow and then the debuff of everything. I was like, man, nobody can do this way. This is insane. Mm-hmm. And I think, she's not even a Marauder, right? So who knows what they'll end up doing with her in the future.
Yeah, so I'm probably there's a couple things I keep evaluating, and that is mutant gear in general. And so particularly the orange gear. And so I have seen too many content creators basically said, what I have done well and what I haven't. And every time what they said they have done poorly, particularly as it relates to DD4, just their overall team, is that they take too many characters beyond T12. And we're seeing a massive crunch on SBCs, Superior Basic Catalysts. That you need, I did the math, I think I need 17,000 SBCs to level up, the 12 remaining characters that I need. Yep. And so a lot of people have been taking a lot of characters to T13 because they were so much more valuable at that point. And so there's this fundamental debate going on in the community right now of, do you take anyone above tier 12? And I think it was level 71 because of all the focus and buff, focus and resist buffs that you get from going to 71. And so the answer is no.
unless it's a meta team like Black Order, Symbiotes, or you're taking characters to DD4. So I did want to throw that out there. I mean, I've seen too many videos where the content creator goes, well, I could spend $200 and go in tomorrow.
I know.
Can you imagine spending $200 for SBCs? I mean, God, that's got to be so depressing. Jeez.
It's not even a character. That's right.
Yeah.
And I think I've overdone the tier 13 thing, but even so, there's so long that it's going to take to get through DD4.
Yeah.
To get the uniques that I think I'll be able to accumulate what I need. It's not going to be fast, but I mean, who's going fast if you're not spending money? There's no way, right? I mean,
yep. Yeah, and so I'll cover a little bit more later on. Those are the two that I've been looking at and dreading over and over, and I'll talk about it when I get to my gearing and leveling, what I'm thinking about doing.
So, do you want to jump to that just so that we can get, or do you want to keep going here? I was going to check with you.
No, let's keep going. We got a few more comments here. This is going to be our extended Q&A episode. So the next one is another contributor in Discord, Dobbs420, and he said, how do you feel about opening the floodgates a bit on silver promotion credits? It seems like the 5 red star, 5 yellow star is a good baseline to make tunes usable in the in-game content. He said he'd be fine gating the 6 and 7 red stars, maybe paywalling, whatever, but give us the opportunity to get more 5 red star characters. So, my first comment is it is ridiculously slow earning these silver promotion credits. And Frid and I are at a stage where we've been getting lucky lately on red stars. And so we're looking to have to spend 150 of these on those key characters. And it takes 2.5 months or something ridiculous for that. So, let's just do some quick math here. So first and foremost, we get 3 characters per month on average. We don't earn enough silver promotion credits to take 1 character up a month, much less 2 up, over 2 months, anything like that. So there's a fundamental problem of the absolute RNG cluster fest, that is the RNG, the red star orbs. Then the fact that you couldn't actually make up that deficiency with buying the red stars directly. So there's a lot of commentary that's been put out there. The red star system has to be talked about in the blog post next week. Otherwise, it'll be a major failing by Scopely. To me, I think we should get enough to promote 1 character every month and a half instead of every 2.5 months. That way, you can make up for these deficiencies. I would actually say more, because at the end of the day, we're still getting 3 characters a month. We can't level them all. So I don't understand this. But Fred, what do you have to say on that?
I mean, it is time that this gets addressed. There's no reason for it to be so scarce. Even what they sell, it doesn't even make sense.
Oh, those prices are horrible.
Like nobody, I don't know who's spending on this, but it makes no sense with especially in the late and end game, the power that you need is nowhere near what even a 4. It's like, it's okay in some cases, but you really need 5 to make them do what they're supposed to. Especially newer characters that take months to appear to get the 6th and 7th yellow star.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, and you're right. I mean, if they don't, this needs to be probably the number one thing. And they have been they didn't say anything on the community feedback, but I mean, about red stars, but it continues to be one of the biggest problems in the game.
Absolutely.
Apparently you can, with ISO 8, you could try to do a little bit to paper over that, but it's not the same. I mean, totally luck-based RNG system. And then this promotion system that's really, we said it's not even 1 a month, right? It's 2.5 months, so you get 5 characters a year that you can go to 5. I mean, what is that?
Whereas we get 36 characters a year. So yeah, it's just out of whack. To the question, yes, they need to start releasing reducing the constraints there. I mean, you've got Doom that came out and said you have to have 6 red stars or more. And I mean, I just looked at that and shook my head. I'm like, come on, I get it's in-game content, you're making it really hard, but you can't do those types of things and have a broken system behind it. So
when we have what, 4, 5, 6 total, and we've been playing for 2 years. I mean,
oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Yep. All right, and then we had some folks. I appreciate these comments and people posting this in there, but we had Captain KP and Terry G that have posted screenshots of Yo-Yo showing up in the premium orbit. So to them, I say thank you very much and congratulations. Hearty congratulations to you. Thank you for letting me know that she exists in your orbs, because we know that Scopely has removed her completely from the premium orb for me.
I don't see her either. It's been a while.
Yeah, I have gotten Cole a couple times over the last 2 months or so, whenever he's been there. But at this stage, 300 to go, 15 isn't going to do me any good.
I mean, it's gonna be years. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pulling her out here shortly to put in whoever the next, what is it, Bishop, or whoever the next difficult character is. Mm-hmm. She may come out to maybe put in the war store again with everybody else. Because why not, right?
Yep.
Like with Ravager, Bruiser, and Yo-Yo. All right, we got one more. Halcyon Days. I'm butchering that. And he says, I'm about to get a 6 yellow Black Bolt when this event comes around. As I am stuck in the mid-game grind, does he work best with Inhumans? Are they worth working on? As at least one is unfontainable. Who is that? Oh, who are we talking about?
Oh, poor Yo-Yo. Justice for Yo-Yo.
I know. This is a part of a larger problem I have, as I need to build all, quote-unquote, the teams still. Should I focus on DD3 characters? War offense teams? Arena? Begin worrying about DD4 in 5 years when I get to it. Any ideas on how to even flirt with the current meta from mid-game? Thanks and love the pod. All right. Yeah. Well, thanks for the love, but Creative, I think you have some more to add to this.
Yeah, we had another guy, Lion War, maybe, or War. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm horrible with names, but he had a similar problem. He has a bunch of the legendaries are already unlocked. He had an Invisible Woman, Shuri, Magneto. I think he even had Doc Ock. But he is going to get Black Bolt, I think up to 7 yellow stars. So congrats on that with the upcoming event. But with the move of the Maul event being much earlier, he's not going to be able to get Maul any higher. So we put both of these topics together because I think it's a fundamental problem that new players, mid-game players, and even early in-game players are facing, is that there is so much to work on. And so let's first talk about Daze's comment. So first of all, Black Bolt is a fantastic character. The Inhumans are a very good team in terms of a mode like War or Blitz. They're an auto win team in Blitz. They're very good at attacking in War, and we talked about using the 3 core members, Black Bolt, Yo-Yo, and Crystal, and putting them on defense as well. So, Karnak and Quake. Karnak is needed if you're going to take them against the Marauders, and you need Karnak to disrupt Strife. Quake, she's just kind of there. She slows people down. That's what you need. You slow a little bit so that Black Bolt can get to the big ult. So I found this question very interesting, and Line War all talked about, well, who should he focus on? Talked about a lot of different characters, and it was all, a lot of detail, and I put a lot of detail back. And to both of these players, we're going to go back to Magneto. So we talked about the Brotherhood and how they continue to counter people. I mean, Magneto has been around forever, and he is still a relevant character. So in terms of legendary events, definitely would recommend looking at Magneto. Blob is Arena Store. Juggernaut is Arena Store. Toad is the Blitz Store. So very, easier farms, along with, of course, Wolverine you get for free and some others. There was also a question about, Doc Ock and focusing on him. I'm glad that I have Doc Ock and I have him at 6 yellow stars, but I have no intention of getting to 7 yellow stars anytime soon. I can't focus on X23 anytime soon because we've talked at length about the War Store and the problems there. Domino's not farmable. So to me, I would definitely recommend Magneto and Jubilee being the next legendaries that you start planning for. Generally speaking, it's going to take you 3 months and sometimes to get these characters up. So we covered a few different things there. I think, Fred, we need to come back to the first initial question about, where do you use Black Bolt? And so, he is the easy button. We've talked about it. He can make U7, Ultima 7 raids much easier. We used him with Yo-Yo, doing her passive and her basic, and you're getting a whole bunch of extra hits for Black Bolt. We used those two with Symbiote Spider-Man, Carnage, and Shuri for a while. But you can plug in Black Bolt anywhere. He blows stuff up. Fred, I feel like I skipped around a bit, but you want to maybe summarize or bring us back there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like Ultron, maybe Phoenix to a certain extent. These are characters that absolutely change the way the game is played once you unlock them. And, the Inhumans are great, but he fits in other... I mean, depending on where you are in Arena and all this stuff, I mean, he fits in there. And I use him every day in U7 in my teams. I mean, it's been changing a little bit, but I use him every day to take out bosses. He's just crazy. Now, I have all the way to 7 red stars because I went all the way with him. But definitely a great character. I think is still relevant, even though it's not as dominant as he once was. Now, one thing I heard that I think is relevant to this discussion is from our war captain, former war captain. He was telling me that in his new alliance, he's facing what he calls the new whale alliances. So they have Black Orders and some of these new teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have this old stuff like Shield, Brotherhood that we used to clean up war rooms. So they were struggling with some of the old school. You know how many times we said, hey, Brotherhood is good against that defense?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the answer, even though, they're late game, not late game, but they have some of the newer teams. They haven't had time or resources to build that base that we all have, like Wave 1 Avengers and stuff like that. So very interesting that you can spend, but you're still behind when it comes to some of these older, like Magneto, that have been around for a while and it's still relevant and good. Okay. So just curious.
Yeah, and so probably the last thing, and so he asked, Days asked, should I focus on DD3 or War Offense or Arena? And so the answer is yes. No. So we always say prioritize Arena first in terms of what you're doing. Getting a higher rank in Arena gets you cores. Cores gets you free characters. And so we've got White Tiger coming soon, actually out now already. And then Frid and I used a bunch of cores on Blitz Orbs for Iceman and for the Astonishing X-Men. And so we have a lot of them at 5 yellow stars. So Arena is the engine that makes everything else easier. So I would say definitely make sure you have a solid Arena team. Black Bolt fits very well with Ultron, Phoenix, Colossus, sometimes Invisible Woman's thrown in there. But he fits in any of those teams, and there's a few different permutations of that. Was kind of an older meta. You could still throw him in with a Magneto, Sinister, Mystique type team, and some things there. But he fits in everywhere. I just really, really like him with Yo-Yo in most teams and no other protector. So Yo-Yo does her offense down, and then the big thing is on turn 2, she gives energy to Black Bolt, and so he does his ult on turn 2 instead of turn 3. So that would be another kind of thing. But I would prioritize Arena first. I personally have never prioritized War in terms of leveling characters just for war. I think Frid talked, X-Force, and he did that. But generally speaking, I always focus on arena and what gets me the most value, which is typically raids and then, auto blitz. And we always viewed Dark Dimension as a natural progression. We don't necessarily. So right now, unfortunately, they've broken the game again with T15, and that you have this long delay and you have to start conserving orange mats. But I would really look at it as progressing towards arena, and those characters then you can use in Dark Dimension, or those characters that you level up for raids or for war, then can fit into Dark Dimension. So we don't ever recommend leveling something up just for Dark Dimension.
Yeah, and thankfully, Dark Dimension 4, you can get away with that type of approach, that if you build good characters, they actually work. Not like DD3 that had these mandatory things you needed to have for the most part. So That's a good thing.
Yep. So we covered a whole lot of stuff there. Again, we had a long list of mailbag items that we wanted to go through. So we're going to do a little bit more of an abbreviated gearing and leveling. I'm basically going to say the same thing, Frid. So why don't you give us some of your gearing and leveling?
I'll do it in 30 seconds. And that is that I have been building up the Astonishing X-Men. Unbelievable. At 280 power, they can automatically clear Ultima 7.5 nodes and global nodes in the Alpha Raid difficulty 2. With X23 as the 5th, because Bishop is cosmic. So definitely going to take them to 12. Again, based on what we just talked about, the 13 gate is a problem because of the orange gear. So I'm going to wait there. And I am also trying to get the levels I need on the remaining members of the global team for DD4. That's Baron Zemo, Mr. Sinister, and Ghost. I still don't have the materials, the uniques, but I'm getting close, so I want to make sure they're ready to go once I get those materials. So that's it. How about you?
Yeah, so I keep going through the nightmare of DD4 planning. While I'm really proud of what we did from a T15 farming perspective, it was incredibly depressing. Just seeing that's going to take me 11 months to get all this as a low to no spender. And so to add to my depression, I went and added up the training mats as well, because I always have problems there. I'm always on the verge of being out. And so I have 4 characters already to T15. I could take someone tomorrow and start, but I just don't want to. I'm not even looking forward to this at all. But I would need another 33,000 training mats, which would take over 10 weeks to get those training mats, which, it's going to take longer for the T15 mats. So again, we're going to continue to focus on Dark Dimension 4 to the side and keep progressing on other things. I have gone all in on the X-Men. They're 300K. They're all ISO 8 tier 4, tier 12 already. I finally actually started using my Blitz purple orbs. And I have done the math. I should be fine to do all of them to tier 13 and Sinister or Emma to tier 15. So likely they're going to keep going. Everything shows that they can beat pretty much any of the meta teams out there if they're high enough. And so we're not going to be able to farm them till 2023. But they're already strong at adding value for us. So, most importantly, they're an auto win team in Blitz. So we're going all in on them. And we'll keep talking about them a little bit more. But Frid, why don't we close out the show with the White Tiger event is now live as our recording. Why don't you just give us the quick number breakdown?
Yes, and White Tiger, the orb probability and duration of the event has not changed from which one was the last one? Shatterstar? Maybe?
Yes.
So 15-day event and the same percentage or drop rate from the orb. So the math does not change. But to recap how that looks, and we'll post a little graphic on our Discord. If you want to unlock White Tiger, all you need to do is complete all of the nodes, either in medium or hard, and use your free energy, the ones that you get 3 times a day, plus the one that you generate. That's it. Then you can unlock White Tiger. Very easy. If you want a 3-star White Tiger, and you're a mid-game player, you need to do all the medium difficulty nodes and 1 energy refresh per day. If you're late game or are able to complete the hard difficulty, then you only need to complete all of those nodes with the free energy, and you would have a 3-star White Tiger. If you want a 4 yellow star White Tiger, now we're talking about just 1 extra refresh a day. So 50 cores is what that costs.
For the hard nodes, yep.
On the hard, yep.
Yep.
And if you won the 5, it's the big jump, right? From 1 refresh, you need to do 7 refreshes, which throughout the course of the event will be a total of 8,000 cores to get a 5-star White Tiger. As I mentioned before, I have been spending more cores, but I will still do this because I like the resources that I get out of these events. And I was peeking in the orb, and there are some characters in there that, I don't know if you noticed, there's like Ghost, X23's in there if you haven't done her. There is Shatterstar.
Kitty Pryde.
Kitty Pryde. Who else was
Longshot.
in there? Yeah, I was like, all right. Of course, that means the characters you get to use may be a little bit challenging if you're a newer player.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Nick Fury, Symbiote Spider-Man, who else? Invisible Woman. There's legendaries. They're not in the orb. So, Moon Knight, not in the orb, obviously. But I think considering the events we've had, this probably, at least for a late game player like me, has the most desirable non-event characters. The other guys that come with the orb. And now watch me get all the repeats every time I open one.
So I've got to interject here. So I just did some. I have them all written down here. I think it's around 28 characters. So okay. You already have X23 maxed out, but yes. Let's just. Most people would want X23.
Mm-hmm.
Most people.
Domino's in there.
Yeah. So let's go through these. There's Domino, Ghost, Kitty Pryde, Longshot. Keep going. Shatterstar, X23, Yelena, Yellow Jacket, and of course White Tiger. So that is 9 characters. So 1/3 of the orb is something that we care about. 1/3 of the orb. I miss the good old days when you did a campaign event and you got the character. Miss Marvel's event, other characters where you got their character. So, I'm sure you and I are going to get a couple shards of Longshot. And we'll go, ooh, I got some Longshot. But you're going to get like 5 or 10 shards. I don't like this continual method of diluting the orbs so that you just get a few here or there. It doesn't affect your game enough. Mm-hmm. So, yes, there's some cool characters in there. But there's also Miles in there. There's also S.H.I.E.L.D. Operative. I mean, what the heck? I mean, Hand Assassin, sure, people could use that for Phoenix. But, Daredevil's in there. I mean, it's thematically correct, but Daredevil? I mean, Punisher?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. No, they always do that. I guess I'm just come used to that being the way it works. But you're right. I mean, Minerva campaign was a Minerva only orb. Can you imagine back then? Oof.
Remember when we had the Greek raids and you got a character? I mean, I never farmed Black Panther because they also ran the event like 3 times in a row because they were too busy on other things. But can you imagine actually getting a character and making them usable? I don't like this dilution approach that they have done. Anyway,
and just to mention something, other games they make the farmability, especially on a node, when a character is released. I mean, what difference does it make?
2 shards a day. Come on.
2 shards a day, spending 100 energy that you can't spend on like gear and some other stuff. Mm-hmm. What's really that doing? And this game, I'm talking about the Disney game, day one that they release an event or some new characters, they're already in a node somewhere, like out of the gate. Sometimes 2 nodes, and I can't get all these characters to unlock the legendary or whatever, and it's okay. It doesn't break the game. Anyway, I
I think we're
digress.
giving away next week's episode. So the blog post, well, so a couple things. We're not going to get into the news or anything in depth. We're just going to say this. So they came out this afternoon, we record on Fridays, saying you're going to get multiple blog posts now. They keep pushing out resolving or talking about the player issues for whatever reason. So again, it's been 2 months. So that did not come out this week. We were hoping and expecting it to come out, but that has now been pushed yet another week. Instead, we got the roadmap review. We're not going to go into length on that. We'll probably talk about both blog posts next week and a kind of a state of the game. But we're expecting red stars. We're expecting character cadence release, and we're not seeing anything in their hints that they're giving. So we're a little concerned. So Scopely, I know you listen. You better have those on the list. Justice
That's
for
right.
Beast.
I know that's a good way to close it, and we did want to get caught up. I know we had that special show to celebrate our anniversary. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoy us getting through all of the listener feedback that we've received, and please keep all that coming. You can do that in the public section of the Discord in the Ragnarok Alliance, which will be on the show notes. Just like Silent Night did, you can write a review for us in Apple Podcasts. I have more countries on my filter, so I'll be looking for those. That helps with our visibility so people can continue to find us. You can always write to us at rngendgame@gmail.com. We're on Twitter and all those others. What else? We're on all major podcasting platforms.
And YouTube.
And YouTube.
Awesome.
And if you like the stream that we did last week with the guests, let us know, and we may consider doing more. We did want to mention that we're going to tweak the audio settings. I know there's some static that come from, I'm doing the recording on my side, and I learned a few tricks. Actually, if you're good at that, reach out to us because you may be able to help us. But I think I have some settings now that will help us in the future. So if we ever do that again, hopefully it'll sound a little bit better. But we do appreciate everybody that joined and that liked that. Anything else creative before we?
No, I think we have unloaded so many pearls of wisdom. Hopefully people had their pad and paper and were writing all those pearls down. But I think there's a lot of key themes that we're seeing in mid-game, a lot of key themes we're seeing in the end game. So if you have those questions, do let us know. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks, everybody.
Talk next week.